Sup, guys, this is Baseball for FPC, and today I'm very happy to bring you episode 6 of my Interstellar Marines Early Access Gameplay video series. This video is covering content update number 6, which was just released, or rather released on October 30th, so a few days ago. However, I was gone on vacation this past weekend, so I wasn't able to record and upload the update. So anyways, I'm doing that now. Better late than never, you know. So anyways, this was a very big patch, and so it addressed quite a few issues as well as adding a whole bunch of new stuff. So I'm really excited to bring this video to you because it's a really cool video. There's a lot of new stuff, and I'm really excited to sort of talk to you about what's going on and yeah, what was added. So as you can see what I'm doing right now, I'm playing on the map Elevation. I showed you, or rather previewed this map to you a couple videos ago. However, it was not in the multiplayer server rotation. It was only on single player, and so I sort of walked around on it, but you didn't really get a good feel for the map. However, it has now been added to the multiplayer rotation, and you actually get to play on it, and it's a really cool map. All of the platforms are dynamic, and so they move up and down. You've got staircases that are raised and lowered, creating a whole new map basically each time the environment state changes, and so it's really cool, especially with the game mode. And that's the other really big thing for this patch, is the new game mode, Team Domination. And you can see me playing both on the new map Elevation as well as the new game mode, Team Domination. So a lot of cool stuff, a lot of new features being added. So as I've said a couple times already, this is the map Elevation, and you'll see it throughout this video, but the environment is constantly changing, platforms raising up and down, which totally changes the environment, and the Team Domination game mode, which also throws things into a whole new loop. So Team Domination is basically your typical domination game mode from other first-person shooters. You have a set amount of tickets at the beginning of each match. For Interstellar Marines, it happens to be 1,000 for each team. You have a time limit. For Interstellar Marines, it's 20 minutes, and the idea is to drain your enemy's tickets all the way down to 0, in which case you win, or to have the most tickets at the end of 20 minutes, in which case you win as well. And so it goes pretty typically how you would think about it. However, there is only one capture zone at a time, and so this capture zone is set up randomly, I guess, around the map, and so only at one time is it active. And so your goal is to put as many of your own teammates in it as you can, and whichever team has the most teammates in the zone starts ticking tickets off of the other team. And so green signifies neutral, blue signifies friendly, red signifies enemy. And so just so you know sort of the color scheme as I'm playing here. But after a set amount of time, I think it's probably like 2 minutes or so, the capture station changes to somewhere else on the map. And so then everybody goes traipsing over to the next area to see if they can put as many guys as they can in it as possible before the other team. And so as long as you are in the capture zone, you start getting points yourself. And that's another one of the things that was added, is the addition of a sort of a point scoring system. So you can see in the top right corner you've got the scoreboard. However, it's slightly different. Instead of just keeping track of your kills and only giving you 1 point per kill, you get 5 points for every kill, and then I guess for every 1 or 2 seconds that you're inside of the capture zone and it's capping for your team, then you get an additional point. So it really allows you to sort of keep track of how you're doing, how your team is doing, and stuff like that. So it's a cool feature, and it goes very well with the Team Domination mode. You kind of expect it, but it's cool nonetheless. I was actually doing really well this match, so that always helps when you're trying to record. When you're doing really terribly, then it's not as fun to watch. So I was glad that I was able to get a good video up for you guys. And so yeah, you can see the environment changing every once in a while, which is great. Another one of the things that was new is the addition of a respawn time. And so you can see every time I die at the bottom of the screen, you've got 15 seconds before you can respawn. Now I'm not sure if this timer is added in Team Deathmatch as well, as I've only tested it, or I've only played on Team Domination during this new patch. So, not sure if the respawn timer is for Team Deathmatch or if it's just for Team Domination, but it really forces you to play much more tactically because you don't want to have to wait 15 seconds before you can hop back into the game. So you are a lot more cautious when you're sort of playing around. You don't go in guns blazing because that's an easy way to get yourself killed. I actually got burned quite a few times on the previous matches. I didn't record those because it would have been quite boring to watch, but I wasn't used to the delay before you could spawn again. So I was going in guns blazing like I typically was, and that generally pays off. That generally pays off pretty well. But as soon as you die, 15 seconds later, you get a respawn. So that's a little bit of time that you have to wait, and you kind of think about what you just did. And so I got burned quite a few times by just running in and then getting owned before I could actually do anything. So I learned very fast I needed to adjust my playstyle to factor in that delay before I could jump back into the action. So you want to keep that in mind. Just play a little bit more tactically, and you should be fine. So there's quite a few things. I'm going to link the full list of the changelog inside the description below because there's quite a few things that were added, quite a few things that were updated and fixed. So I'm not going to go through every single thing, but I'll cover on some of the main things as I've been doing already. So as I mentioned, they added the whole color scheme. Blue is always friendly, red is always enemy, and so that was nice that they actually made that distinction, because I know I've hopped into a lot of multiplayer games before where they have the whole red-blue color scheme, but red does not always mean enemy. Sometimes you are the red team, and so that throws everybody off, or throws me off at least whenever I jump into a game. I'm not sure, wait a minute, does red mean enemy, or am I actually the red team, in which case red would be friendly? So it's nice that they went out and said that. Just an off note, sort of referencing the video right now, that was a really horrible sort of battle right there. I had the laser on my weapon, and then I just sprayed three full clips into the guy. That was really bad. I wasn't aiming down my sight, so I was way off target, but that was just a really embarrassing couple of seconds there as I was hopelessly spraying at the guy. I finally did get him, but it was just a really bad couple of seconds. If you are a Spearhead Edition owner, there is some more concept art that was added to the Spearhead folder, so it's always nice to see them updating that for Spearhead users. One other thing about the match that I'm playing right now, I managed to hop into one of the 16-player servers, and so I found that to be rather unique. This is the first time I'd actually played in a 16-player server in which it was, for the most part, pretty full. I'd hopped into one of these servers before, but there were only maybe 3 or 4 guys in them, so I wasn't able to get the full effect of it. But there was actually quite a few guys playing, and I was really happy to see that. And so I played a couple matches on some of the other maps to get a feel for how 16 players felt. And I'll be honest, some of the other maps felt a little bit cramped with 16 guys running around. The one map, or rather the 2 maps that didn't feel cramped, were Evacuation, which was the swamp map that I covered a couple videos ago, as well as this map, Elevation. So Evacuation and Elevation, those played perfectly with 16 players, and I really enjoyed it. Some of the other maps, a little bit smaller maps, and so it felt a little bit cramped. However, it wasn't too big of a deal. One thing that they did fix, and I was really happy to see that, was they addressed some of the spawning issues, and this sort of goes into the 16-player servers, but before, you could really sort of fool the spawning system by hiding just outside of range, or sort of camping in and around the other team's spawn, and you could really wreak havoc by spawn killing the other team, and so that was a serious problem, and I was really glad that they addressed it. They addressed it by they basically take into account where everybody is, as well as sort of the respawn points, and they do calculations and whatever, to sort of make sure that the spawn killing doesn't happen. And so I was really happy to see that they addressed that, because that obviously is a huge issue when you're playing a multiplayer shooter. You don't want to have the other team able to spawn kill you over and over and over again. So I was really happy that they addressed that, and I did notice a difference when I was playing, so really happy to see that. They did actually have Interstellar Marines on 40% off as a daily deal this past week, so I was really happy to see that. I remember logging onto Steam and I was like, hey, 40% off for Interstellar Marines, that's great, because a lot more people, that puts it on the front page of Steam, and so a lot more people are able to see it. It's able to get a lot more publicity, and so I was really excited to see that. I think that's partly why I was able to hop into this mostly full 16-player server, is because of the daily deal. People were picking it up. It was relatively cheap, and so a lot more people in the game, a lot more people getting to experience this awesome game. So thanks to the guys at 0 Point Software, this was an awesome patch, and thanks for putting it 40% off. Even though it didn't affect me directly, it was sort of indirectly by more people actually playing the game, and I was able to get in a lot more full servers. So I was really happy about that. Thanks to the guys, they've put in a lot of effort, and it's really showing, it's really paying off, and so I hope to see a lot more updates from them. So yeah, as I mentioned, I'll be putting the full changelog list or rather a link to it in the description, so you can take a look at that. I'm sort of looking at it as I go right now, just to want to see if there's anything else that I want to talk about. I mentioned the spawn delay. I mentioned the spawning system has been sort of revamped. One of the other things, it says that spawning is now always grounded. I have a feeling I know what this means, but I wasn't quite sure. A lot of times, since I've worked on mods before, you put spawns slightly above the ground so that there's no chance that the player will actually spawn inside the ground, and so that's just sort of a development quirk where you don't want the player spawning in the ground because they'll obviously be stuck there. So you put the spawn points just slightly above the ground, and they sort of drop to the ground, maybe a foot or so, depending on how high you set it as soon as they spawn. But it says that spawning was grounded, so I figure that means you always spawn on the ground. Anyways, I'm wrapping this up really fast because the match just ended, so I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and until next time, later.